Hey everyone, I finished watching the next Wild Force episode, Soulbird Salvation. This one's different than what's come before in Wild Force. So far in Wild Force, we've gotten a lot of character-focused episodes and very plot-driven episodes. This one is all action, almost. There's not a whole lot of plot here. It starts off with Gindrax and Toxica are around a train yard. A train's coming in, and this new org, Retinax, comes out. They go up to him, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we remember you. You were Master Org's original bodyguard." And Toxica's like, "Yeah, I've been thinking there's something weird with Master Org. You'll be able to tell us if there's something different about him." And so then he goes off with them, and then the camera stays behind, and we see Master Org is behind them on the train. Why are they hanging out on trains? Also, like, where did Retinax come from? Like, was he just hanging out? Like, how did he end up on the train? Is this like in Clash of the Red Rangers, where the train is like a bridge between dimensions or something? Who knows, whatever. Not really important, it's just a different setting to have, I guess. And it is an interesting setting, I guess. It's cool. So anyway, um, Gindrax and Toxica send Retinax to fight the Rangers, and during the fight, another org joins in, the Freezer org. And there's a funny little bit where Retinax is like, "Whoa, what's that?" And Gindrax and Toxica explain to him, "Modern orgs inhabit modern things," or something. And that was a cute little thing. Uh, I'm saying thing a lot, aren't I? Whatever. So anyway, a weird thing, Toxica like almost immediately makes Freezer Org grow, or well, the Rangers defeat him almost immediately, and so then he grows. Rangers call the Zords, and this isn't even like 10 minutes in, and we've already got a Zord fight going on. So anyway, the Rangers call the Zords, and the Gorilla Zord does that banana thing, and one of the bananas falls on Danny. That's one of those weird moments in Power Rangers. Like, it's a really little moment, but a lot of fans seem to really like that and think it's just hilarious that a giant banana falls on Danny. So anyway, up on the Animarium, the Soulbird egg is being taken care of by Shayla, and then suddenly she thinks it's trying to tell her something. Meanwhile, the Freezer Org sacrificed himself to freeze the Kongazord. Yeah, there's a bizarre thing. The Freezer Org can like build up freezing energy or something within him and then self-destruct and freeze anything around him. So he does that. Okay. And it goes by really quick too. Like I missed it on my first watch and I was like, "Wait, how did Freezer Org get killed or whatever?" So anyway, along with the Kongazord being frozen, the Rangers' morphers are frozen, and so the Rangers fight the other orgs unmorphed, and they get defeated, and the orgs take the animal crystals. The orgs are just about to kill the Rangers, but then Shayla shows up with the Soulbird egg, and the Soulbird egg makes a noise that repels the orgs, I guess? Okay. So, it also unfreezes the Kongazord and the Morphers so the Rangers can morph and continue the battle. Retinax grows on his own, which that's a pretty big deal. Like, in most Power Ranger series, the monsters themselves, they can't choose to grow giant. Like, it's only, like, the main villains, usually, who can choose to grow giant, and Retinax is like the way the episode began, it felt like he was just going to be a one-off villain, but the way he's treated in this episode is like he's a main villain, which does make sense now that I've seen Gao Ranger, and in Gao Ranger he was the main villain. This was like his penultimate episode. In Gao Ranger, there's no Master Org. There's like a revolving door of main villains that Gindrax and Toxica's counterparts serve. And the first of them was Retinax, I think. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure Retinax was the first of the main villains, and then comes Mandaloc's counterpart, I think. Whatever. Back to the episode. Let's see. He's fighting with the Kongazord, and the Rangers are losing, but then the Soulbird egg hatches and combines with the Kongazord and forms a new cockpit. And then it tells the Rangers it can heal the Lion Zord if they form the Wild Force Megazord. I didn't know the Lion Zord still was in bad shape. Like I thought at the end of the last episode, or whatever episode it was, where they got the Kongazord, that the Conga Zord could handle the Bear Zords, so the Lion Zord was like the Lion Zord was better then, wasn't it? Oh. Okay, so was the Lion Zord like just not feeling well and that was why it couldn't handle the Bear Zords? So now that it's healed, can it handle the Bear Zords? I don't know, whatever. Back to the thing, they never explained that. Let's see. The Rangers defeat Retinax, and the Rangers are up on the Animarium, and they're saying it's lucky that Soulbird hatched when it did. And then Shayla's like, it wasn't luck, it sensed that you needed it. Okay, well, it's lucky then that it sensed that they need it. So anyway, the episode's pretty meh so far. Like, so far in Wild Force, I've really been enjoying the character focus episodes. This one just kind of felt bland to me because it's just straight action all the way through from start to finish. It's good action. It's an okay episode, but it's not like what I really like about Wild Force so far. Until the ending. The ending feels like more traditionally what I've come to expect from Wild Force, where we see back on Earth, Retinax has survived. He gets up from under a bunch of rubble, and then we see Master Org approaching, and then Retinax looks up. Who are you? And then Master Org just looks at him and then points his staff, boom, shoots a blast at him. Retinax explodes, and then Master Org just turns and walks away completely emotionless in the cold-blooded murder he's just committed. And it's a really cool moment and builds on that thing from the beginning when Jindrax and Toxa are talking to Retinax and talking about how you're Master Org's original bodyguard. You'll be able to recognize him, and he doesn't recognize him. And it's foreshadowing that Master Org isn't who he seems to be. That's what foreshadowing is. If you've seen the earlier video, there was a thing on Ranger Wiki uh, about the flashback to the Animary that the Animarium came from. Let's see, Shayla's talking to the Rangers about the past of the Animarium, and she talks about Master Org attacked, and it shows Master Org as we know him from Wild Force, these first few episodes. And that doesn't make any sense, because later on it'll turn out that that's not what he looked like back then. But on Ranger Wiki, there was a weird thing in the trivia that said that this is foreshadowing that Master Org as we know him in Wild Force isn't who Master Org really was back then. Which, that's not foreshadowing, that's... I don't even know if that's the opposite, but it's a mistake. This is what foreshadowing is. Whatever, back to the episode. The episode's really action heavy, and that's cool. It's different from the previous Wild Force episodes, which I guess adds a little bit of variety to the series, but yeah, I like the character focus episodes better. I'm not big on just straight action scenes from start to finish. The Freezer Org was voiced by Billy Forrester, who played Flabber in Beetleborgs. That was a neat thing to learn. Freezer Org doesn't really get a whole lot of lines. It's like maybe two or three like complete words that it says ever. I can't really remember off the top of my head any specific line it had. Oh, one of the nice touches in this episode was when the Rangers defeat Freezer Org, Retinax shows up and he looks shocked at this and worried for Freezer Org. And that's a nice thing. That's always a nice thing that I like in Power Rangers when the villains actually care about the other villains. Because so often in Power Rangers, the villains are just completely callous to their like subordinate monsters, like back in Mighty Morphin, when Rita would have Finster create a monster, she doesn't have really any like emotion towards the monster. She doesn't care about the monster. Like the only care she has if it's defeated is that, oh crap, I can't take over Earth now because the monster was defeated and I gotta wait for, I don't know, why do they wait? Like, can the machine not make that many monsters at once or something? Whatever. So, yeah, I'm getting off topic. Back to the Wild Force episode. This was a fun one. It was fine. Not a whole lot to say about it, though, because it's not very plot heavy. It introduces some important things, like the Soul Bird forming a new cockpit on the Megazord, or Kongazord, whichever. Uh, we have the foreshadowing of Master Org not being recognized by who's supposed to be like one of his oldest accomplices, or subordinates, whatever you would call him. Thinking, I don't know what else to say about it. So yeah, it was an okay episode. It was a cool one. I'm looking forward to the future. We got the Lunar Wolf Ranger coming up soon. We've got more Master Org stuff coming up soon. The team up episodes in Wild Force are something I'm really looking forward to because they're some of my favorite episodes in the whole series. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.